Hi everyone, welcome to 10 December and I hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome from the Hyderabad Insights office and welcome to Daily Decodes. Currently we are doing in the evening. Once I reach back Bangalore, then we'll start again in the morning times. So 10th January, welcome everyone. So you all can take a admission in the 2026 batch of OGP 2026 batch. It has started on 2nd January. Still admissions are going on. If you want proper guidance for your UPSC civil services, you can take enrollment in this program. This program is under the guidance of Vinay Sir, who is founder and director of Insights IAS, and this is the focus of the program: GS, CSAT plus SA. And for all details, you can also call on the number 80 69 40 52 05. So you can always call on this number for all the details. And also one of the most famous program of Insights IAS, that is Secure Personal Guidance related to your mains, that is also available. You can call on the number for all details or scan the QR code for all the details. Now the thought for the day is: the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time will fall. This was said by none other than Nelson Mandela. This also tells us that we all will fall. We all definitely will fall. The most important thing is to rise. There is definite, we will make mistakes, we will fall, there would be failures in life. That happens with everyone. This will happen. But most important thing is to rise again and again, again and again. So don't worry about failures. Don't worry about that you will fall. Your focus should be to get up, learn from your failures, implement the learnings and move ahead. So this is the thought for the day, and I hope that if you go through the journey of Nelson Mandela, how he did not give up and how he was an important force behind the the color discrimination, apartheid, racial discrimination and everything, and what a long journey he had fought for justice. Okay, so the important news which we would be doing today are Modi calls for documenting history of Indian diaspora. Okay, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas has been celebrated in Bhubaneswar, the capital of Odisha. India releases compilation of 10,000 human genomes. Indian Air Force Chiefs AP Singh flags delay in the Tejas deliveries in the UPSC prelims impact. We'll also talk about Tejas planes, Tejas fighter jets. In editorial, we'll talk about the damage control, the impact of earthquakes. This is specifically comes after the massive earthquake which came in Tibet and more than 100 people have lost their lives, and what kind of geographical scenario is in this Himalayan belt and what measures can be taken. So important editorial would be there. So good evening everyone for joining the session today in the evening, and if you have got any doubts, anything, please do mention in the comment section. I think many students have joined. Welcome to the session. So the first important news for today is Modi calls for documenting history of Indian diaspora. So he is talking about Indian diaspora. Basically, Modi ji is talking about, the Prime Minister is talking about the soft power of India. If you talk about Indian diaspora from America to developed world, to every corner of the world, you will find Indian diaspora. And they have given a rich contribution to various countries. And he is talking about documenting history of Indian diaspora, which has traveled hundreds of years of back to various countries. They should be documented, and this should also be known to the Indian population in India. So Prime Minister Modi, addressing the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas event in Bhubaneswar, highlighted the achievements and contributions of the Indian diaspora in various other countries. He called for documenting their history and journeys, underlining their importance as part of India's shared heritage, and this diaspora becomes so important. See, if you talk about today that India, the Indo-Americans or the American Indians or the Indians which have now settled in America, they form such an important part of America. They form such an important part of Trump presidency, or for that matter even Joe Biden presidency. So the Indians which have gone outside, they have represented the Indian culture. When Indians are going to America, they are becoming CEO. When Pakistanis are going to countries, they are becoming beggars or rapists. This is not me saying, this is all international media which is saying that when Indians are coming, they work very hard, they become CEOs, they are hardworking. So this is what Indian diaspora represents. It represents culture, it represents hard work, it represents ethnicity, and this is what Prime Minister is talking about, that this should be documented so that everybody is aware about it. Okay, good evening. So he emphasized India's growing global role and its focus on peace through its cultural legacy. Obviously, India has a huge cultural legacy. PM lauded the journey and success stories of persons of Indian origin, not in any specific country but worldwide. He highlighted the importance of Indian heritage, deserving to be documented through stories, films and research. So Bollywood can also take, not only Bollywood, Indian cinema should take an important step in this direction and highlight these important stories of Indian diaspora who went on to different countries and created a positive name for India. This way we would also get awareness about the contributions of Indians in various other countries. Global peace through Indian values. He referenced Dholi in Odisha symbolizing Emperor Ashok transition to peace. Now Dholi becomes very important, Emperor Ashok becomes very important. Now this can be a question in prelims can be expected regarding the Dholi, or even for that matter the related to Gautam Buddha or Ashoka in mains or prelims, because whatever Prime Minister says, it basically becomes very important. I've told in previous lectures also to you that if Prime Minister or President, they are traveling to some other country, okay, if they're traveling to, for example, last year President traveled to the Prime Minister traveled to many countries, Nigeria, Guyana, Kuwait. So, and Middle East is one of the favorite areas of UPSC. So all these areas, all these geographical locations become very important. So in this context, if he is talking about Emperor Ashok, he is talking about Dholi. So again, very important from prelims and mains perspective. Asserted the Indian message, the future lies in Buddha, not war. And if you see, Prime Minister again and again has been telling that this is an era of economy, not war. This is the same message he had given to Putin also. And I think recently a podcast has also come of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I don't know it has been released or not, but the trailer was released. It is happening with Nikhil Kamath, who is associated with Zerodha. So in that also a question was asked about this era of war and everything. And once I've not seen the podcast, I don't know if the podcast is out, but in trailer there was a question regarding this war also, that what the economic, the turmoil which is going on in the world regarding wars. So the Prime Minister Modi also spoke about some India's global growth. So first number was given, 25 crore people lifted out of the poverty. These numbers and these facts can also become part of your UPSC mains answer if you are talking about the achievements. Okay. Rise from the 10th to the 5th largest economy, and soon we should become the 3rd largest economy. If I go through the numbers which I have listened to one of the podcasts in which External Affairs Jai Shankar Sir had told that we have we are about $4 trillion economy or about to cross it. $3 trillion economy, so we have already crossed it. We are about to 4 trillion and the compounding rate would be very high. India's rising global influence. I think I have spoken about India's rising global influence multiple times in these classes. If you remember, I have spoken about that global south a lot of times, that India represents global south. For that matter, even China is representing. And when you talk about global south, it does not mean geographical global south, because geographically India would be part of north. And for that matter, even China. Global south means all those countries which were imperialized or where the development did not happen, or they were colonized, okay, earlier, and they do not form part of the big groups like G7, IMF or the other groups, or they, even if they are part of these groups, they do not have a say because Western world is dominating those groups. So today India, from BRICS summit to Shanghai Cooperation Organization, has become a very important country to represent global south. Okay. So focus on Gir Mityas. This is also a very important word which the Prime Minister talk about. Gir Mityas, indentured laborers. If you go back in the history of Mahatma Gandhi, if you go back in modern history, when Mahatma Gandhi goes to Africa, there is something he talks about, indentured laborers. So this is also the Prime Minister has touched. So a question can be expected in prelims or mains regarding this. Proposed a comprehensive database for indentured laborers who migrated under colonial arrangements and then their families settled there and they contributed to those countries. Suggested documenting their villages of origin, from where they came, which destinations they went into, what was their contribution, from where they came. This is again Prime Minister talking about Gir Mityas. Gir Mityas are known as indentured laborers. Call for producing films, documentaries which can talk about their history. Recommended organizing regular World Gir Mitya conferences also. Then inspirational stories of Gujarati films also he focused, cited the examples of 5 families migrating to Oman from Gujarat over 250 years ago. Just imagine, 250 years ago they had migrated from Gujarat to Oman, and the contribution they have done to Oman. Similar efforts in documenting Indian communities. If you start talking about Indian communities, they have gone to multiple countries outside. Huge contribution by Indian. They were part of business, they were part of trade, they were part of culture, and contributions have been done by them. Support for diaspora initiative. So, External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar emphasized diaspora's role in global workforce, and most importantly, this becomes a very important part of soft power. India, if you see the contributions of India and Indians working abroad, America is one of the best example, Europe is one of the best example. When Indians go, they are very hard working. They are not, criminals or all these people, or for example, what is happening with grooming gangs in UK. When we go to America, what do we become? We become CEOs of Google, we become Satya Nadella, we become Sundar Pichai, and all these things. Okay, so from a point of view, the Prime Minister also inaugurated 4 exhibitions and flagged off the Pravasi Bharatiya Express, a special tourist train which has been for the diaspora. Okay, so a wonderful news from the soft power point of view, and a UPSC mains question has also been put for you guys. Discuss the significance of documenting the history of Indian diaspora in preserving cultural heritage and strengthening India's global influence. Okay, and today I've also added an approach towards the question. So, okay, you can enhance it, introduce the Indian diaspora as a cultural and economic bridge, highlight PM proposal for documenting their history, explain the potential socio-economic and diplomatic benefits of power, conclude with India's role as global power, championing inclusivity and heritage. So obviously you will need to add more answer, more statements to this towards your introduction, body and conclusion, but I am giving you because earlier I was giving you a question, but today I have also added this part which will help you. You need to write answers. Okay, the next important news which comes is your Indian flag in IAF chief flags delay in delivery of 40 Tejas aircraft, technology delayed is technology denied. So very important statement has been said by Chief of Air Staff, the Indian Air Force Chief, that is AP Singh, and the statement has come from the let me complete the news and then we'll come to the Tejas prelims impact also. So this statement has come from Indian Air Force Chief Amar Pratap Singh. This is Amar Pratap Singh Sir, and he is heading the Indian Air Force, and he is saying that we wanted Tejas. See, the anguish and the frustration of the Air Force Chief is coming. The reason behind is that our neighbors' fighter jets and technology is growing at a rapid pace. Specifically, I am talking about China. We are currently have the best fighter generation wise we see. So we have Rafale. So Rafale has also been bought from France, Dassault Aviation. That is a 4.5 generation aircraft. Now China already has J-35, which is 5th generation aircraft. What is the best point about 5th generation aircraft? That the blip on the radar would be low, and the beyond visual range would increase, and obviously it would have more sophisticated technology. Now forget about J-35. Last month we also covered the news that they have come up with J-36 also, right? They have come up with J-36 also, which is a 6th generation aircraft. So China's fighter jets are going at a rapid speed, and Pakistan is also planning to buy 40 J-35 5th generation aircraft from China. On the other hand, India is lagging behind. Forget about 5th. We have not still got the Tejas aircraft, which the Tejas program started in 1984. It first flew in 2001, and still Indian Air Force is been waiting for the 40 fighter jets that should have come in 2010. So 2010 to 2024, and this is the reason of the anguish and frustration of the Indian Air Force Chief. The fighter jets should have come by now. The fighter jets have not come. On the other hand, China and Pakistan's fighter jet capability is increasing like anything. Even if Pakistan is not able to make, they can get the fighter jets from China, and China is helping. So this is the reason that the Air Chief is highly frustrated, and he said that emphasize that technology delayed is technology denied, and he's absolutely correct also, because HAL, that is that is Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. This is the one organization which need to give this Tejas jets. It is not only late, it is very late, it is delayed. Okay, and that is why this has come, technology delayed is technology denied. So frustration stems from India's slow progress in building indigenous warplanes, particularly regional rivalries, specifically how China is fighter jets capabilities is going. So Tejas was conceptualized in 1984. The first Tejas aircraft flew in 2001. Now deliveries to Air Force were expected in 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, they were expected in 2010. Currently, when I am taking this news, we are in 2025. So see how many years have passed. Even the first 40 jets are yet to be delivered. So Tejas is around 4.5 generation aircraft. 4.5. China has already made 5th. China has already made 6th. Rather, they are working on 6th final technologies on the 6th one. And we have not even made the 4.5. So this is what the Air Chief is talking about. So Indian Air Force needs 42 squadrons, and in one squadron you get 18 jets. So we currently need 42 squadrons to tackle Pakistan and China. Rather than having 42 squadrons, currently we are only having 30 squadrons. So our squadron strength has got depleted because we don't have fighter jets, so leading to a critical shortage in firepower. So if India knows it, obviously China and Pakistan also knows it, that what is the current condition of Indian Air Force, which does not look good. So before I move forward, I would also want to add what is the capability of Tejas. Tejas is a 4.5 generation single seat supersonic multi-role fighter aircraft. The program was developed by DRDO's Aeronautical Development Agency under the Light Combat LCA program, with HAL working as the prime industrial contractor. The problem is this HAL prime industrial contractor, it has not given it those 40 fighter jets which should have come in 2010. And now you see how many years have passed, more than 15 years. LCA program was envisioned in late 1980s, 1984 start, and still Indian Air Force is waiting for it. And they were to replace MiG-27 and Su-7. Fleet entered service in Indian Air Force by July 2016. So certain Tejas jets have come, but we are still waiting for that 40 complete Tejas jets. It is designed for offensive air support, close combat, ground attack roles. There are 3 major versions of Tejas, that is Tejas Mark 1, Mark 1A and trainer variant. Many international countries have also shown their interest in buying Tejas. That is a good thing, but only when we are able to produce Tejas, then we would be able to sell it. Problem is that the HAL is not producing it on time. So currently the chief is saying that more private players should be encouraged to come, which can help increase the speed, and there should be very important deadlines, that if you don't complete the project on deadlines, action would be taken. Currently HAL dominates, they have a dominance and monopoly over this fighter aircraft technology, and that is what is there to advantage, and this advantage leads to lot of delay because they have monopoly over it. So it is Tejas is designed to carry a range of air to air, air to surface and precision guided weapons. Okay, so comparative, this I have told you, China has 6th generation, India's France, this I have already covered, and India's we are also working on, we have started working on the 5th generation aircraft program also, but that program started in 2024 only. Now this program will give you 5th generation fighter aircraft, like China is J-35. So if we make our 5th generation aircraft, that will come in late 2030s, nothing before 2038 or 2039 or 2040. So what will happen for this remaining 15 years? For these 15 years, we will need to buy fighter jets from outside if HAL is not giving the jets on time. So this is the statement given by Air Chief Marshal AP Singh. We have our own security concern on the western and northern borders, that is Pakistan and China, with increased militarization by China and Pakistan. As far as China is concerned, it is not just the number, even the technology is going at a very rapid pace. So he is not only saying that China's number in fighter jets are increasing. China's technology is also increasing. They've got 5th generation aircraft and now they've got 6th generation aircraft also, which is a huge concern. Sir is basically talking about J-35 and J-36 fighter planes. Okay, so geopolitical security concerns are there. We are doing the catch-up game with the China and Pakistan. Challenges of self-reliance are there. See, it's good that we need to focus on self-reliance, and I've maintained in the previous sessions with you that if you want to become a superpower, you cannot be dependent on all these technologies from outside. So we need to get weapons from outside or the fighter jets, but at the same time, Indian Air Force also believes that self-reliance is important. Maybe today you need to invest more, tomorrow the result would be good. But investing in an organization like HAL is not doing anything good, because it's like a government organization, nothing comes on time. There has been multiple delays. Probably we should also focus on private players. And the good thing about private players is that Indian government has established defense corridors and facilitated the growth of private defense firms, which now contribute 22% of defense output, the highest in 8 years. Once this 22% will cross 50-60%, then the products will start coming on time and there would be top-notch products. Till the time we are dependent on these government agencies like HAL, which has never given a product on time, this delay would continue. Same can be said about DRDO also. DRDO has also been never given the products on time most of the times. Okay, this is a constant problem with DRDO also and with HAL also. On the other hand, if you talk about an organization like ISRO, ISRO is a top-notch organization and the way it functions is brilliant. If DRDO or HAL could have been 50% of ISRO, things would have been very different, but currently that is not the case. So Air Force Chief acknowledged that the self-reliance comes at a cost, but obviously as indigenous production may be slower and more expensive in the short term, but in future it would be good. Focus should be on long-term security and reducing dependency on allies. But at the same time, it is important that if for 15 years, if we do not have a 5th generation fighter aircraft, if we do not have the right number of squadrons from 42 to 30, this can be a great advantage to our adversaries. To make sure that this advantage does not go to them, we should work that at least our strength should be increased. The squadron strength should be increased by buying fighter planes from other countries. Okay, so a UPSC mains question. Analyze the challenges faced by India's indigenous fighter jet program in terms of production delays and technological advancement. Suggest measures to enhance self-reliance in the defense sector. Okay, so I've given you a bit of approach. Discuss the historical delays in Tejas program, impact on Air Force operational readiness, comparative advancement by regional rivals and India's dependence on imports from France, from not only about the fighter jets from France. Earlier also we have got fighter jets from UK also, France also, Russia also, and even if you talk about Chinook and Apache, P-8AI, C-130J, that came from America. So suggest measures like increased private sector participation, most importantly deadline, that is what Chief is also talking about, strategic investment in research and development, and then conclude with the importance of balancing self-reliance with timely defense preparedness towards more positive intent. Focus should be positive, how things can improve. Next, India releases compilation of 10,000 human genomes from 83 population groups. Okay. Now moving to the next important news, that is related to India releases compilation of 10,000 human genomes from 83 population groups. So India has completed Genome India database. So what happens is that when you do a genome of the database of Indians, you will get to know what kind of diseases they can have, what is their, what kind of population groups. It will also show the representing the 83 population group, and study of human genomes can also tells you about the genetics before and what can be medicines can be given, and what can come out of this genetic study. So a compilation of 10,000 human genomes representing 83 population groups. This monumental database was done at India Biological Data Center at Faridabad, Haryana. It will serve as a global research resource. So not only that Indians can study it, even the researchers, the outside researchers can also study it. Obviously, it will make sure that the ethical concerns of data should also be taken care of. So research resources for disease in investigation, this is what I am talking about. Disease investigation can help us, drug therapy can help us, and advancing precision medicine. So once you study the genes, you will also get to know what kind of medicines can be given. You will also get to know what kind of drug therapy can be given. You will also get to know what kind of disease investigation which can be done. So I hope this is clear to you why you are doing this. Why we are doing this genome Indian database, and this is around 2 to 4% only of the study which is done. To be precise, the number is only 2% of India's population. This number is just 2%. Just imagine if you are able to do 100% of the population study. Okay, so PM described the project as historic for strengthening India's biotech industry or the biotech economy or biotechnology. So it represents 2% of India's 4,600 population group. So from a prelims fact point of view, a good prelims question become, so how many population groups are in India? 4,600. Focusing on genetic diversity. It includes 27 million low frequency variants with 7 million unique to India and not found in global references databases. Population groups are numerically coded. They have been numerically coded and not done caste wise. Otherwise, you know what would happen if they got to know that there's a genome in this caste and that caste. Already we had that Hitler who was talking about that Aryan race and everything, and what he did everyone knows. So population groups are numerically coded, avoiding classification by caste or tribe. Anyways, I am not talking anything against Aryans, but I am talking about how you had used that word Aryan, and then he wanted to create a specific gene and race so that which can conquer the world. If you remember what Hitler did with the genocide of Jews, etc. So significance of research: provides template for disease research, drug therapy development, which we have covered. And the groups have been numerically coded, not caste wise or tribe wise, and specifically in a country which is divided by so much with reservation, it is important this was not done. Advances precision medicine, because once you study the genome, you can get to find that these particular genome or this particular population in future might get troubled from this particular disease, so this medicine can be given in future. So advanced precision medicine by enabling target clinical intervention, contribution to understand genetic diversity and disease risks. So this has been the focus. Database would be available to researchers worldwide, and there would be data sharing privacy policy for ethical usage also, and in future there can be expansion toward other groups also. Currently just doing a small fraction of it. It is just doing 2%. Tomorrow once we study 4%, 6%, it increases to 30, 40, 50, 60%. It will give a huge database. It will give a huge study into Indian genome systems. Okay. Obviously, it would be a boost to India's biotechnology economy. That is said by the Prime Minister also. Scaling up the database to deepen genetic research, it will help, and improving healthcare outcomes. So let's move towards a prelims question. It contains 27 low frequency, 7 million of which are unique to India, correct? The database classifies population group based on caste and names. No, not on caste and names. Okay, they have been on the codified on numbers and everything. Researchers can access the data through proposal reviewed by independent panel. Obviously an ethical. So the ethical things related to data would also be taken care of. Answer is B, 1 and 3 only. Okay, the database avoids caste or tribe, rather using numerical codes instead. Okay, so these two courses have also been launched, that is Pragati course and Pratyush course. This is specifically related to KPSC. If you want to prepare for KPSC mains, then you can, for full syllabus you can go through Pragati, but if you only want to go through KPSC mains test series, then you can go through Pratyush. and currently there is a lot of discount also, and you can call on the number 8069 40 52 06. Let's move towards today's editorial. Okay. So today's editorial, the editorial is about adherence to regulations can limit earthquake impact. Now every one of us knows that an earthquake occurred, in Tibet. So it becomes paramount that things should be taken care of, specifically from Himalayan geology and geography point of view. So what has happened is that a recent 7.1 magnitude earthquake in Tibet caused significant destruction, claiming over 100 lives and affecting region as far as Nepal was affected, Bihar was affected, New Delhi was affected. But major destruction happened in Tibet area. More than 100 people have lost their lives, and it was obviously all over the news also. And Chinese disaster relief forces reached there. But again, the winters are so harsh that it was very difficult to save people. People were using bare hands also to take out the people out of the rubble. Just with this news also, I want to add the news of that Californian fires. I think we had covered that news yesterday also. Okay. That Los Angeles fires, which we had covered. Okay. Yes, Californian fires, Southern Californian fires, which we had covered yesterday. So if you see, number of disasters are increasing over the world. Obviously, the LA fires, one of the major reason is climate change. But on this side, this is obviously this is because of the earthquakes, and Himalayan geology will always be affected by earthquakes. So event underscores the urgent need for earthquake preparedness, particularly in the Himalayan region, where the tectonic activity poses a constant threat. So in this context, it becomes very important. See, this is the Indian plate which collided with the Eurasian plate, and eventually it led to the creation of Himalayas. Now, since Tibet news has come, there can be an expectation of a question in prelims related to these tectonic plates or the creation of Himalayas, because there is a tendency of UPSC that whatever is in the news, they tend to ask the static area around it. Now this is the current affair news. Related things can be asked in your UPSC mains also. So Indian plate colliding with the Eurasian plate created the Himalayas with fault lines that are hotspots for seismic activity. Scientists have identified overdue massive earthquake in Garhwal Kumaon Range, potentially of 8 magnitude, based on seismic record which came 300 years back. But even with today's best technology, we cannot predict earthquakes. We cannot give a precision area when the earthquake will come and where the earthquake will come. So that is something as technology we need to progress. Despite advances, exact time and date of such earthquake remains unpredictable. We never know from where it will come. This is some area where we should work on the technology. Now, past earthquakes, 2015 Nepal earthquake came, 9,000 people were killed, widespread destruction, and this also shows that Himalayas' fragility and seismic history. And again, obviously, we are making roads, dams, bridges, and recently there was a news of China creating the biggest dam over the Brahmaputra river. And now then India had concerns, and being a lower riparian state, but China said that Bangladesh and India should not worry about this. Everything would be taken care of. See, you might be taking everything care of, but you might not be able to take care of the earthquakes. Okay, because nobody can predict them. So fragility of the Himalayan infrastructure is there. Infrastructure projects such as roads, dams, hydropower plants face constant threats from landslide and glacial lake outburst. Natural disaster frequently destroy development, highlighting the region's vulnerability. This region is highly vulnerable. So more scientific investment in R&D is required out here, so that, and huge focus should be there how infrastructure is being created out here. Rather than working on research and development, Himalaya today is working area where security forces are highly deployed. Okay. So strict adherence to building codes in Himalayan and Indo-Gangetic plains is critical to limit damage, so that we do not repeat what happened in Nepal or Tibet. Infrastructure planning is required in seismic risk and cost associated with earthquakes. Otherwise, even if you create roads, a huge would be a damage. Like Tibet, a lot of construction was done by the China, but eventually those roads are damaged, and eventually the more construction would be done, more cost will come. Now CPEC passes, this China-Pakistan economic corridor also passes through Himalayas only. So this a huge amount of investment which China has done, they probably need to think twice about this kind of investment and creating these kind of dams without the proper Himalayan geology study or the geography study. Otherwise these kind of events will come and destroy the infrastructure, and a lot of people will get killed. So enhanced resilience in construction can minimize potential devastation from major quake. So resilience should be there, and more thought process and more studies should go before these kind of infrastructure is created. So we have a mains question. Evaluate the challenges of infrastructure development in the Himalayan region in the context of earthquake risk and suggest measures to enhance resilience. Approach. Introduce the seismic vulnerability of the Himalayan region. Obviously, in this question, you have to introduce what you've learnt in the geography subject, and also requirement of map would be there. You will have to draw where the earthquake also came in Tibet, and obviously a little bit of facts regarding that. Highlight challenges like landslide, glacier lake outburst, recurrent earthquakes, adherence to building codes, sustainability planning, and if you can Google and find which are the important building codes regarding the earthquake, that should be added in the answer. Conclude with the importance of balancing development and safety fragile ecosystem with positive development. Okay. So in the extra mile today, this editorial is about we need accessibility rules that are based on principles. Okay, so this is written by Seshank Pandey, lawyer and founder of the Politics, and this is related to Supreme Court. About article is about right of person with disabilities. Again, a very important point, very important issue from the point of view of UPSC mains. You can also follow ICANN 2.0 current affairs for answer enrichment in mains. It comes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every day in the morning at 9:30 a.m. And today I've given you UPSC mains questions also, and given you an idea also about it. Okay, I've also given you an idea also about it, how to go about that answers. Previously also I had asked you to, you need to write answers, but you still are not writing. I've asked you that you need to write something in the comment section, but you don't follow it. So again, I've told you that we are a family, we are a part of the family. I had asked you that earlier a lot of students were coming, but currently they are coming less. Ask your friends to rejoin back. The daily decodes have started back. You need to come back, because if you leave it, then you go back to square one, and again the result will not come in your favor. Every day we are doing UPSC mains question, we are doing UPSC prelims impact. Don't miss it, and I hope that the previous PDF which you were not able to get it, now you've got the PDF. I hope you've got the previous PDF. That you have been able to get the previous PDF. Let me know that you've got the previous PDF and not. Please start writing answers, and since we have entered January, I am hoping that you've started practicing your MCQs only, MCQs and PYQs specifically related to prelims, because if you have not started practicing them, then that's not a very good sign. If you've already started, that is very wonderful. Start practicing PYQs and MCQs. That is very important for your examination. And recently I've also done a podcast with Vinay sir about UPSC interview preparation. I would definitely want you to go through it, in which sir talks about very important books and why interview preparation is very important, how you can go about your interview preparation. By now I think 2 podcasts have already come. One is on UPSC interview preparation, one is nepotism in the industry, and third is also coming, that what would be the impact of artificial intelligence on education. That would be coming on this Saturday. So please go through it, and it would be a really enriching experience listening to Vinay sir and how he gives his views, which will also help in your answer framing, because sir continuously talk about that students today are reading less books, they're only reading the syllabus books. You need to come out of these syllabus books and read other books also, which are very important for overall development. So please definitely do watch the podcast related to artificial intelligence. Okay. So I hope you did learn in the today's lecture, and I've also added the UPSC mains with an answer writing that I'm sure would be helping you. And we'll meet up tomorrow around the same timing. This is around only till Hyderabad. I'm doing the lectures in the evening because early morning I've got classes. Once I reach Hyderabad, lights and everything would be fixed. So sorry for these couple of days which is happening out in the Hyderabad center. Once I reach there early morning, we'll start again, and then obviously you can meet up. A lot of students are sending messages, sir, that we have not been able to meet. Once I reach Bangalore, then we can start with that also. Okay, so guys, thank you very much. We'll meet up tomorrow around the same time, around 7:30 or 7:15 we'll start the session, and take care and Jai Hind.